Welcome to Top Thangs, where we dive into the depths of human psychology and society's enigmas. Today, we're unraveling the mysterious allure of cults. From ancient sects to modern movements, cults have captivated and alarmed society through the ages. What draws individuals into these complex webs of belief and control? Join us as we dissect the psychological dynamics behind cult formation, manipulation, and the intense loyalty they command. Prepare to delve into a world where ideology meets psychology, exploring the fine line between faith and coercion. Cults have fascinated and frightened humankind for millennia. From small esoteric sects of the ancient world to massive modern-day movements, cults continue to draw followers into their ideological and organizational grasp. But what defines a cult? And what are the psychological pull factors that lead individuals into cultic groups and enable those groups to maintain such tight control? We will explore the murky and compelling psychological dynamics involved in cult formation, indoctrination, and retention of members. Beginning with an examination of the origins of cultic movements and their initial appeals, we will delve into the specific techniques leaders use to attract and manipulate followers. A thorough analysis of cult psychology and behavior patterns will uncover striking similarities across various groups throughout history, providing insight into the fundamental human needs and vulnerabilities that make people susceptible to cultic influence. We will spotlight unsettling yet intriguing controversies surrounding cults, from staged mass suicides to alleged brainwashing practices. We will grapple with ambiguous ethical questions and probe the nature of free will versus coercion in cult contexts. Finally, we will conduct an assessment of cult resilience and evolution in modern times. We'll round out the investigation into this endlessly fascinating psychosocial phenomenon. The origins and allure of cults. Cults have existed for thousands of years, emerging both within and alongside of mainstream religions, social movements and subcultures. The term cult arose in the 17th century from the French culte and Latin cultus, meaning worship or religion, but today it carries more negative connotations of manipulation and fringe beliefs. Cults range in ideology from New Age spiritualism to political extremism to apocalyptic religious fervor, yet share key behavioral and organizational patterns. Some of the earliest records of cult-like groups come from ancient Egypt and Greece, where mystery cults developed with elaborate rites and initiation secrets. In Rome, the cult of Mithras gained underground popularity and displayed many hallmarks of modern cults like tiered membership levels and intense dedication from devotees. Early Christianity exhibited cultic features too in its charismatic leader, total faith requirements, and persecution of outsiders. Certain primal human needs and questions seem to underpin the allure of cults across eras. Seeking purpose, community, exclusive knowledge, and answers in a chaotic world, people are drawn to the certainty, identity, and sense of belonging that cults promise. Their tight-knit structure provides security, while validating members as special or chosen. This potent psychological pull tends to override rational skepticism, particularly in times of broader social upheaval. While a cult's specific beliefs shape its brand, certain recruitment and indoctrination practices reveal predictable psychological patterns. Today, cults skillfully leverage media to widen their reach. But many still rely on old-fashioned targeting of vulnerable individuals such as grieving, isolated, impressionable or mentally unstable persons. Then, intensive influence techniques facilitate the subject's full immersion into cult life. The psychology of cult leadership and member indoctrination. At the core of every cult sits a charismatic, controlling leader who elicits intense devotion. The psychology of cult leaders shares common narcissistic and antisocial traits, characterized by a sense of grandiosity, lack of empathy, and ruthless exploitation of followers. Leaders present themselves as all-wise father or mother figures who should be obeyed without question. Their self-appointment as the sole conduit to truth or salvation heightens their authority. Leaders meticulously construct belief systems that serve their agenda of control, often combining religious, political, or paranormal ideologies. These ideologies impose a strict dualistic worldview, dividing cult members from non-believers, demanding unquestioning acceptance. Absolutist claims of spiritual awakening or human perfectibility appeal to followers' idealism. Us versus them mentalities, apocalyptic visions and persecution complexes solidify group identity and defer blame for failures onto external enemies. Once recruited, new members face intensive indoctrination processes to reshape their worldviews and solidify their loyalty. Sleep deprivation, chanting, meditation, lectures, and repetitive drills structure members' activities, preventing outside influences and critical thoughts. Severing contact with family and friends eliminates competing social bonds. Members may adopt new names, uniforms, dietary restrictions, or behaviors as visible proof of their new identities. Confession rituals force disclosure of past transgressions or sexual histories which leaders then leverage through blackmail. Public shaming keeps members submissive and complicit. The resulting loss of autonomy, constant surveillance and financial exploitation complete the members' absorption into the leader's control. This reprogramming aims to override members' free will in service of the group. Unable to recognize the manipulation, members ardently believe they have discovered their life's true meaning and purpose. The satisfaction of belonging to an elite chosen group validates the sacrifices and reaffirms the leader's authority, creating a continuous self-reinforcing cycle difficult to break. The darkest corners of cult psychology. Given their closed nature, the inner workings of cults spur many controversies and mysteries. Much remains unknown about the extremes of coercion and exploitation that can occur. Cults often operate in isolated compounds with little transparency, circulating intentional misinformation to cover abuses of power. Some of the most alarming cult practices center around sex and violence. Leaders frequently exploit members sexually, unchecked by normal laws and boundaries. Children born are indoctrinated from infancy, knowing no other life. Reports of child abuse by cult leaders hint at terrible dark realities behind closed walls. Violence, weapons stockpiling, and deadly ultimatums also mark the most dangerous cults. Some coercive tactics border on physical and psychological torture to break down members' wills. Sleep and nutrient deprivation, isolation, and marathon confessionals weaken individuals to the point of compliance. Cults that eventually turn to mass violence and suicide elicit the most public unease. The 1978 Jonestown tragedy saw 912 American members of the People's Temple die at leader Jim Jones's command through poisoning. In 1997, 39 Heaven's Gate members committed ritual suicide to reach an extraterrestrial spacecraft. Are these voluntary demonstrations of faith or the result of methodical brainwashing and fear of punishment? The lines blur uncomfortably. How much autonomy do members really retain in cult contexts? Can free will truly exist within environments of manipulative coercion? If members proclaim commitment of their own volition, do outside interventions impede liberties? The necessities of upholding human rights versus respecting personal agency generate complex ethical dilemmas still debated today. They underlie the challenges lawmakers and families face in attempts to restrict or intervene in cult activities. The evolution and resilience of cults in the modern age. Despite public awareness of cult dangers, powerful recruitment strategies and social conditions enable their endurance worldwide. Cults even persist after discrediting or scandals, displaying a remarkable resilience. Their techniques adapt seamlessly to modern tools like social media and online proselytizing. Contemporary cults now offer empowerment or self-help philosophies that appeal to today's individualism rather than overtly religious ideologies. Alienation and instability in the modern world continue providing fertile ground. Ironically, increased access to information creates cognitive overload that allows more extreme views to flourish unexamined in overwhelmed minds. Cults today exhibit a fragmented, decentralized structure with smaller, secretive cells but larger cumulative reach. This limits outside scrutiny and protections for members who retain some autonomy to hold jobs, families, etc. outside the group. Multi-level marketing schemes and psychotherapy camps borrow cult recruitment tactics, leveraging reputable facades. Nevertheless, education and mental health advances are shifting perspectives to recognize undue influence as a spectrum. There is growing understanding of coercive control and re-evaluation of agency in constrained environments. Exit counseling aims to rehabilitate ex-cult members through open questioning, not forced deprogramming. The internet's connectivity generates controversy, however, in amplifying both cult dangers and freedoms. More visibility may enable justification and alternative platforms for dangerous groups, but it also supports member dissent, access to outside views and routes of escape. In the digital age, the cat-and-mouse game between cults and society continues, but with evolving tactics on both sides. Recent discoveries in cult psychology and historical context. Archaeological discovery in Italy. A significant archaeological discovery in Italy has shed light on the religious continuity between the Roman world and the early Christian world. Professor Douglas Boyne's team unearthed what is believed to be the largest evidence of the imperial cult from the 4th century Roman Empire. This discovery under a parking lot in Spello reveals the slow societal transition from paganism to Christianity during the Roman Empire. It challenges previous perceptions of the pace of cultural change, highlighting the enduring influence of pagan traditions even as the Roman emperors began to embrace Christianity. This finding provides a tangible example of how societal and religious transformations are more gradual and complex than often assumed, a theme that resonates with the adaptive and enduring nature of cultic movements throughout history. Modern political movements and cult-like behavior. Recent studies and surveys, like the CBS News YouGov survey, have examined the intense support for certain political figures, such as former President Donald Trump, likening it to cult-like behavior. This parallels the mechanisms seen in traditional cults, where beliefs rapidly shift away from broader societal norms and followers act against their own interests. Bethany Burham, a research scientist in psychology, emphasizes that the psychology of cults can be seen on a spectrum, with certain political movements exhibiting cult-like elements. This contemporary example illustrates the blurred lines between political loyalty and cultic behavior, echoing the psychological dynamics prevalent in traditional cults. Cults retain an eerie mystique due to the impenetrability of their inner workings and the contradictions between individual volition and coercive control. But patterns in their leadership, recruitment methods, and psychological manipulation of members reveal common threads tying together groups throughout history and into the modern day. The primal human desires to belong, to access exclusive truths, and to feel security in community enable cults to persist as powerful psychosocial forces despite public exposés. Much remains unknown about the extent of their abuses of power behind closed doors, and ethical complexities cloud interventions. However, through ongoing education and mental health advances that reinforce autonomy and confront coercive systems, society may gradually counteract the psychological underpinnings that allow cults to thrive. But their endurance suggests that cults will evolve as well, tapping into human vulnerabilities with new strategies. The timeless interplay between the psychology of cultic control and the autonomy of human volition is far from resolved in society's collective mind. Thank you for joining us on this profound journey into the psychology of cults here at Top Thangs. As we've seen, the allure and control of cults tap into fundamental human needs, desires, and vulnerabilities. What do you think about the psychological mechanisms at play in cultic groups? How do we balance respect for individual beliefs with the recognition of manipulation and coercion? We invite you to share your thoughts and continue this important conversation in the comments below. And if there's another psychological phenomenon or social mystery you'd like us to explore, let us know. Remember, understanding the depths of human behavior is a key to unlocking the mysteries of our society. Subscribe for more insightful explorations into the human psyche and its impact on our world. Sources: Hassan Stephen, Combating Cult Mind Control, Park Street Press, 1990. Lalich Janja, Bounded Choice, True Believers and Charis, Think Twice Before Saying Cult, Harvard Gazette.